Russell and Mary Wright, among the famous design names to come from the mid-20th century, got their start as an industrial design team in the late 1920s, until Russell's retirement in the late 1960s. Their career is best credited with the creation of an iconic line of dinnerware and furniture forms, as well as bringing awareness to the possibility of easy living and informal entertaining in a time when such ideas were inconceivable. Wright was born on April 3, 1904 in the historic city of Lebanon, Ohio. As the newest member of a traditional American family full of lawyers and judges, his lineage dated all the way back to two of the signers of the Declaration of Independence. Having grown up surrounded by such traditional ideals, both in family ideology and landscape, it is a wonder that he became such the successful designer full of contemporary ideals. Even at an early age, Wright was known for being habitually creative. As a boy, his early art training came under Frank Duveneck at the Art Academy of Cincinnati until after his completion of high school in 1922. Now, college-bound, Wright initially chose to follow his family's tradition of a legal education at the prestigious Princeton University in New York. Although while attending the university, Wright never fully gave up where his heart truly lies. His chosen electives, Wright won numerous awards for his cast tribute sculptures, as well as joined the Princeton Triangle Club for theater. It was not until an academic advisor convinced Wright that his true talent was really housed within the arts that he abandoned any hope of a legal career to instead focus solely on art. Shortly thereafter, Wright left Princeton for New York theater to become a set designer for Norman Bell Geddes. Through this career outlet, he was able to work with numerous theatrical greats of the 1920s until in 1927, when Wright opened his first design firm. In that same year, he met and married Mary Small Einstein, who was also a designer and sculptor in her own right. Together, the couple would go on to form the company Wright Associates, their home accessories design business, which began creating small objects for the home involving cast metal animals and informal serving accessories of spun aluminum. As a design team, he and wife Mary were able to market their designer products in such a way as to bring the whole package to the general public for relatively little cost. Ultimately, it was through their highly popular housewares and furnishings that the Wrights revolutionized the way Americans lived and better yet organized their homes during the mid-20th century. Possibly the most prominent of Wright's contributions as a mid-century designer stem from his unique and rather iconic ceramic forms. Not only was his pottery's colorful and flowing appearance pleasing to its consumers, but more importantly, his inexpensive servingware allowed its users the ability to informally entertain through a variety of different methods. First, Wright's tableware came in a variety of cohesive color-coded sets to reduce the overall cost for the buyer. Second, its shape was also designed to reduce the storage space needed to house objects when not in use. Third, specific pieces within the line were created to reduce by almost half the amount of dishes needed to serve the average meal. And fourth, in later years of Wright's pottery line, the dinnerware was produced in the form of melamine plastic resin to add that extra factor of portability without the risk of breakage from use. By taking into consideration all these positive factors when designing his particular line, Wright quickly became the most celebrated design guru in America for his sophisticated, good design for the masses philosophy. Ultimately, this particular attitude, along with his clever marketing strategist wife Mary, the design duo were unstoppable during the 1940s and 1950s era. While the Wrights were enjoying their claim to fame, many other competing designers and manufacturers also were creating modern designs for the home. That being said, few managed to show how to use their products with such great detail and through the multimedia platform that the Wrights so effectively used. By pitching their products to the middle class, the targeting of a wider and less sophisticated audience highly paid off and sales soared. It was clear that Russell and Mary Wright fully believed in their products and platform, understood their target audience's specific needs, and got the word out to make an obvious and lasting impression as being the first designers to sell a way of life. Now, 60 years later, as a testament to the Wrights' lasting success, many of their more popular items are still highly coveted in today's market. Naturally, with a design career spanning over numerous decades, manufacturers who contract with designers for merchandise production fluctuate over time. Therefore, The Wrights' initial pottery line was originally produced by the Steubenville Pottery Company of Steubenville, Ohio. At the time of production, the need for a labeling system came into question. Thus, as a means to trademark their iconic dinnerware, Mary derived a stamp of Russell's signature. The intent was for it to be branded on the bottom of their pieces, and by doing so become the first autograph to be used for such a purpose. Although over the remaining years of Russell's career, pottery production moved to Oneida China and Bauer Pottery Company, Steubenville was the place where amazingly pottery sales soared in excess of $250 million, and remain as the most popular china line ever produced to date. As a designer, Russell Wright's design method came from his belief that the table was the ultimate center of the home. By designing in layers from the table outwards, he was able to cohesively design everything from tableware and large furniture to architecture and landscaping. Since his tableware was proving to be doing so well in the market, the Wrights decided to take Russell's design philosophy a step further. As coined by Mary, these blonde wood forms were made to encourage portability as well as be flexible enough to perform numerous tasks within the home. Produced by the Cotton Ball Company as a collection, these furniture pieces can be identified by their natural wood finish over solid maple construction. And perhaps the most recognizable characteristic is the similarly trademarked Russell Wright signature branded into the wood as seen on the bottom of his pottery. With any booming design career, such fame allowed the Wrights to author a book that defined their beliefs on easy and informal living. Thus, in 1950, this design power duo published their best-selling book, The Guide to Easy Living, as a sort of manual for the American public to follow. In this handbook for the modern home, it was intended to liberate women from old-fashioned formal entertaining, as well as liberate families from old-fashioned and high-maintenance furniture. Inside, the Wrights explained their philosophy in regards to entertainment, the home environment centering around the kitchen, and the importance of organizing the home to fit the family's needs. In today's context, when reading their book, one would not seem to find any real new ideas, for concepts such as buffet suppers, one-pot meals, portable seating, and excessive amounts of double-duty storage are nothing out of the ordinary. But when referring back to the time period in which this book was written, some of the ideas proved to be quite groundbreaking. Not only did the Wrights simplify the forms of plates, mugs, chairs, and cabinets, they ultimately wished to simplify the way Americans were to live and work within their homes. Naturally, Russell was a very creative man, known to often quickly move from one project to the next. He had a never-ending stream of great ideas and wanted to explore and better yet bring them all to life. One of his bigger projects came toward the latter end of his career when he and Mary purchased a 75-acre plot of land in New York on the Hudson River Valley. Initially, the land was in need of deep repair after being totally devastated by years of forest logging and copper mining. Nevertheless, the couple saw great potential for this plot of land as the perfect place to restore and then build their summer retreat away from the bustle of the city. Tragically, Mary Wright died of breast cancer in 1952, leaving Russell with their newly adopted infant daughter Anne to raise and this massive architectural project to complete. After her passing, Russell highly involved himself in work, and after a trip to Asia led to Russell's complete love of Japanese architecture. With his retreat still needing to be built, Russell teamed up with the famous architect David L. Levitt to make his lifelong commitment to the integration of art and nature a reality. The collaboration between the two individuals transformed the once devastated Garrison property into a geometric two-story home, complete with a wood and glass terrace structure built on the sloping landscape on 11 different levels, as well as a detached studio for Wright's personal use. Recognizing his passion for this newly built property, which he now called Manitoga, after the Algonquin word for place of great spirit, Russell decided to move his small two-person family there as his permanent place of residence. He very much enjoyed the house's immersion with the surrounding landscape that he had meticulously built, as well as the solitude his stage-set wooded property provided from the surrounding world. Ultimately, in retirement, the seclusion allowed Russell's creativity to flourish, as well as gave Anne a holistic place to grow up and call home. Uniquely, the boundaries between interior and exterior of the home are purposely blurred, as vast bay windows that open up to the elements were incorporated into the main living spaces. Possibly the most famous of all rooms is the main living and dining space, in which a rock wall and stone stairway along with a live tree trunk were incorporated to denote the change in level from one story to the next. Russell was so conscious to design his home as one with the landscape versus placed upon it that he even set his interior decoration to be themed with the spring and winter seasons. Therefore, twice a year, he and Anne would switch the house around in order to continue, or better yet maintain, the chameleon effect with the adorning landscape. In this mystical place, Wright was free to experiment with numerous design ideas within his own home, such as the butterfly wall he created inside his bathroom, or the tree bark-covered bedroom door with its accompanying knob full of facial expression. Although not everyone would appreciate this crafty and even sometimes messy aesthetic as a decorating style, Russell highly valued the freedom to try out new ideas within his own home where such creativity could be treasured. Detached from the main house, this studio space sat high on the hill with an enamoring view of the lake reservoir and lush countryside. In Russell's design studio was a full set of amenities, complete with a living space, wraparound desk and countertop, bedroom with wall shelving as well as a room divider, and adjoining bathroom. This loft was where Wright spent most of his time reflecting through nature and dabbling in creativity. This entire property, also known as Dragon Rock, based on Anne's description, was home to Wright until his passing in 1976. Today it is owned and operated by the nonprofit Russell Wright Design Center. Currently the site has been restored to its authentic 1961 condition and has been named a National Historic Landmark since 2006. The property is open to the public for hiking and tours from May through October. Looking back on Russell and Mary Wright's career, they had the best of both worlds. Many personal successes within the design industry, and towards the end, Russell lived out a very simple life of solitude at Manitoga, removed from fame. At the height of their career, they received the chance to be known amongst the most prestigious names of famous designers of the period, as well as brought about revolutionary ideas to easy living and informal entertaining never heard of before. Throughout his career, Russell's creativity never faltered, and he continues to leave behind a legacy in both his products and through his personal oasis and residence at Dragon Rock.